Way, what's up, guys?
Hey guys, it is a pleasure to be back with you guys, and mainly to be back with Nisha Solis Hypenberry.
He was gone too long.
Mm-hmm.
Too long. Monday Night Live, just a little reminder if you're not aware, this is only in the private community, so don't share the link like you would normally do. Just enjoy the small amount of people that will be viewing this because it's, like I said, just for members. So, welcome. Hi. Hello. How are you? We got some announcements soon. There will be Monday Night Lives that will be for the public eventually, but
I've been gone for so long. I wanted you guys to have full access.
well, that
And
we have a lot going on right now that is going to interfere with our normal schedule. So we're just pushing things around so you still get access to live streams and Q&As because you guys are the OGs. You're the VIPs. Everybody else, we love them, but we owe you our time because you paid to be here, right?
Absolutely.
So we want to give back to you as much as we can while also improving the PhD community, which we're going to go into soon. I'm going to let everybody get in here. So go ahead and take a few questions.
Yeah. Okay. So Susan says, have you found a vet yet talking about the proper diet for pets? I have not. If any of you guys know a vet that is woke with regards to proper canine and proper feline diets, I would love to have them on the YouTube channel. That'd be awesome. But I don't know of one yet. Good question.
We had one on, but he ended up not actually being
well.
Ken thought he was.
I feel like he was. I don't think he felt well. I think he's sick or something.
Okay. Well, he was wishy-washy.
I don't know if it was the number of people watching or what, but he kind of choked.
Make sure to put the word question before your question or a Q. You can just put a Q. If your question's a little longer, that's fine too.
Yes. Also, how many of you guys are brand new? This is the first time you've ever caught a live inside of the community. Type new in the comments. Nisha's watching the comments as they come in live. I want to see how many of you guys, this is the first time you've ever caught a live inside the group. Susan, I seem to crave fruit almost daily. Is that my body telling me that I need fruit? Carnivore for a year. Maybe, but probably not.
I would say more likely is that you've been viewing other people eating fruit, which makes you want fruit, or maybe you've seen some YouTubers eating fruit that are carnivore and they're telling you how good they feel, and that could be the case. We are often influenced by outside factors.
If you're like, well, I feel like I need to eat some fruit, then I want you every day to start eating an avocado, a handful of olives, and a large ripe tomato.
Because that's fruit.
Those are all fruits. And if you're like, yeah, but then you're craving sugar. You're craving sugar. Yeah. Keep in mind, all you guys inside the group, I want you to understand this completely and thoroughly. The hemoglobin A1C test and also the fructosamine test, the test that your doctor would check to check for glycation, can only detect glycation caused by glucose. It cannot detect glycation caused by fructose from fruit or from galactose from milk. It's blind to those, okay? And even though my friend, Dr. Saladino, said that they do pick that up, the study that he used in the lab that we did, he only read the abstract. He didn't read the entire study because at the end of that study, and I've got a link to that study in my video about you're getting glycation you don't know about. It says directly and emphatically, our test cannot detect fructose glycation or fructation. They said that. The researcher said that in the article that Paul tried to use to prove his point. So eat fruit if you feel like you're craving it. I would try to keep the total carbs under 20 total grams a day. If you're going to do that, you can do keto that way. But keep in mind that the fructose is going to cause glycation that a test cannot detect.
Also, let me play devil's advocate a little bit here. Not too much.
Yes.
I'm not going to really. So the problem with fruit for most of you who are in this group is that it leads to other things. The sugar in the fruit leads you to crave more sugar from different things. And most people don't just stick to fruit. or they eat a lot of fruit. And for most of you with the metabolic diseases that you have, autoimmune issues that you have, mental health issues that you have, nature's candy, which is fruit, right, still can cause issues. But let's take Bonnie and Beckett. They're going to, hopefully, Lord willing, eat a proper human diet their whole entire life. Is the fruit going to lead to those things for them? Probably not.
Exactly.
So is fruit the devil? Is that what caused all of the issues that all of us have? No, that's not what caused this. But you already have those problems. So now the fruit can also be a problem. But for like kids, like Beckett and Bonnie have fruit from time to time. They never finish a whole fruit, by the way. Like it just never happens.
Yesterday we bought we were at the grocery with the kids, and Beckett, me and him were walking through naming all the fruits, and he wanted to buy a pineapple. I'm like, okay, sure, we'll buy a pineapple. Got home this morning, he was eating his sausage for breakfast. He's like, can we cut up the pineapple now?
He mostly wanted to cut it up.
Yeah, he wanted. So he watched me and helped me cut up the pineapple, and I cut it into like slices. And so I gave him one, and he ate it, and you could tell he's like, boy, damn, that's good. But I don't even think he finished that one piece, did he? Nisha's like, you're not going to eat your sausage? No, I'm going to eat pineapple. And he ate like half of a piece, and then he went and played.
Yeah.
It's literally not even a thing for him. But if you're like me,
he doesn't have a sugar addiction.
If you were a sugar and a carb addict for 20, 30, 40 years, that fruit might call back some demons. And so another way to think about this is if you want to eat fruit seasonally, so wherever you live in the world, like in Tennessee, we can have fruit from August, September, maybe October. That's it. And so if you're like, well, I'm going to eat fruit when it's seasonally in season for me, and then I'm not going to eat it when I couldn't have got it ancestrally, at least you can make an argument for that. I see your argument.
Down to being honest with yourself. Can you have fruit a few times a year, or is it going to become an everyday treat, which leads to more than one time a day treat, and you make excuses, and then before you know it, you're back doing the same old thing, and your A1C is back up, and you're like, what just happened? My pain is back, yada, yada, yada. So you have to understand, where are you coming from, and where is that fruit going to take you, and make the decision based on that. Because like I said, like Bonnie and Beckett can have fruit every now and then. It's not going to bother them. For you guys that have true metabolic issues and sugar addiction, it's not the same thing. And it's not the fruit, really. It's you.
Yeah. And I was going to show you Paul's book, which is 100%. I agree with everything he says in the book. He doesn't mention any benefits of eating fruit. He started that later. And then when he first started talking about fruit, he would also add the disclaimer. And in the interview he did with me, he added the disclaimer.
He does.
If you're metabolically ill, if you're morbidly obese, if you're diabetic, you probably need to limit the fruits. But more and more, I've noticed lately, he's not saying that anymore, that everybody needs hundreds of grams of fruit a day. And I don't think that's a healthy advice. Lisa is pregnant.
Yay,
congratulations.
What
are your thoughts on circumcision from a lifelong health standpoint?
Let me get into it for you.
You just asked the right couple of questions.
All right. So I was a labor and delivery nurse for a long time, right? And we did circumcisions every day. And if you had asked me while I was a labor and delivery nurse, are you pro-circumcision? I would have said, yeah, sure. But then one of the doctors that I worked with started really educating his mothers on circumcision. And I was like, tell me why you're doing that. Because he would be like, there's risks involved, and this is not medically necessary. And like he would run through a whole list, and he was like, because women think that they have to do this. It is not medically necessary. It's a vanity thing, and there's no reason to do this to a little boy. And so I thought, that's interesting. And then when I got pregnant and I found out it was a boy, the very first conversation we had was, I don't think I want to circumcise him. Mm-hmm. I feel awful about that. I would like to do some research. So I would recommend you also do some research. But just know the main thing is it is not medically necessary. It does not cause infections. It is not unclean.
Let me be a little more blunt. There is no medical benefit from circumcision. Now they've tried to publish a few articles like, well, it maybe decreases your risk of HIV. It maybe No, there is no proven medical benefit from circumcision. There is only one religion that I know of on the planet that requires circumcision.
And it's not the type that we do in Western.
That's exactly right. It's not the same kind of circumcision. It used to be done by the priest biting the foreskin off.
Which is
That's how it used to be done. There are also exemptions in the Jewish religion for certain. You can be a Jew and not have circumcision. There is no tenet in Christianity that requires circumcision. A lot of Christians think it's part of the religion. It's absolutely nowhere in Scripture.
More and more, also mothers are not doing this.
Yeah, absolutely.
And so that whole like, well, he's gonna look different in the gym, in the locker room. Also, first of all, that's weird.
First of all, guys, don't look at each other's peckers.
They shouldn't be looking,
because you'll get chastised for that. All you guys who used to shower at the football team, you're not going around looking at everyone's pecker.
But I think that's really not the main reason. A lot of mothers are worried that girls won't like their sons because they're uncircumcised. I think it's going to become more and more common in America that boys are uncircumcised.
Absolutely.
Beckett is not circumcised. He has not had any UTIs, no problems with hygiene, none of that. When we were like, if you have a little girl and you have a little boy and they crap their diaper, which one is harder to clean?
Right. I mean, should we
do something with the girls?
Yeah. Should the girls have some surgical procedure? Because that's way harder to clean than a little pecker.
So it's just
no.
horrifying that we have made this so normal.
Yes. And let me say, as a doctor, I've done hundreds of circumcisions.
And I've done them as a nurse.
And when I was training, and we always did the circumcisions post call. So we'd been up all night long. The next morning before we went home, that's when we did the circumcisions. And one of my friends who was a year ahead of me in residency, he was an attorney who'd went back to med school because his daughter got sick and died. So he felt the calling, and he did not want to stay post call and do 10 or 12 circumcisions. So he would go into each patient's room and he would give them all, just like your doctor, all the possible complications. And he would end with, there is a very tiny but very real risk that your son's penis will be cut off.
I've seen this happen.
Sign right here if you want us to do the circumcision. So you can imagine the parents are like, and then he would add, you can follow up with your pediatrician. This can be done in the office as an outpatient if you'd rather just wait for now, because he would go home and go to sleep. And I thought that was brilliant. Also, a little deceptive, but not really, because there is a small but real risk.
There is a real risk.
And so there's so with that information, Lisa, there is no medical benefit, zero, never been proven. It's a meme that was started a few thousand years ago by one religion, and then it's kind of some memes are better than other memes. They just perpetuate. There's no reason to do it, but if you like, well, everybody in my family is circumcised, and I don't know, and my mother-in-law, it's not going to be the end of the world if you let your son be circumcised. But just know there's no medical indication.
And there's like the myths around what happens if you don't that's
all baloney, bullshit. It's all bullshit. Yeah. Ruben, does your lab book work the same in Canada? I admire you very much. Thank you, changed my life. Yes, the updated Common Sense Labs has the normal values for Canadian and UK labs, as well as the US normal ranges and optimal ranges. Yes. Oh, here's Carrie's dad joke. What do you get when you cross a raindrop and a snowflake? A slush puppy. Thank you for our dad joke. Slayermint. Would you recommend carnivore diet for stage 4 CKD? BUN around 100, creatinine around 2.5. Nephrologist is recommending more veg and less protein. Says too much protein can cause pericarditis. First time I've ever heard that one. Never read that in the literature at all. Ask your nephrologist. Just tell them, Slayermint, look, I'm really trying to take charge of my health. I want to know. You said eat more vegetable and less protein. Could you print me out the studies that prove that? And I've got a friend who's a doctor who will read these studies and then interpret for me. I'm your friend. Okay. What's going to happen is the nephrologist is not going to be able to produce any studies whatsoever that have proven that you should eat more veg and less protein. Okay. You need to eat as low carb as at least ketogenic. At least you don't need to ever eat more than 20 total grams of carbs a day. And every carb you do eat needs to be a keto friendly carb wrapped in some fiber. So like broccoli, avocado, olives, that kind of stuff, right? You don't need it. any just sugary carbs ever, because that's what's going to destroy your remaining kidney function. And we've got many people in this group who have reversed their stage 4 CKD back to stage 3 or even back to stage 2 by eating either keto, ketovore, or carnivore.
Real quick, back to circumcision.
Yeah.
If you want to come into my group and talk about this more, we can talk about it for a freaking hour. Also, there's a documentary. It's called American Circumcision. And
Yes.
it really will open your eyes if you're somebody who's like pish posh, circumcision is the way. Watch that documentary.
Yeah.
And do some real research. Okay. Also, it's time for announcements. So I know you want to
Go ahead.
talk.
Go ahead.
Okay. Most of the coaches have their groups open. All right. So we will be sharing those in the main feed. You can find them in the left-hand column. It's under PhD coaches. But we will have all the links. I'm going to post them as a PhD coach directory. So some of you are already in there. I think Alyssa's group is open. Paula's group is open. Mitzi, I think her group is open. Neil's too. I think there's just a few who still haven't opened their group. But just so you know, go hang out in the coaches groups if you want to get to know the coaches really well. And also, it's just a better way to get your answers in a more quick way than trying to get them from Dr. Berry, because you are effectively getting them from Dr. Berry.
Yeah. Decaf with mineral drops. Ron, 63-year-old woman, keto for 2.5 years, down 110 pounds, still 50 to go, has Hashimoto's, type 2 diabetes, sleep apnea are gone. A1C 5.2, LDL 224, total cholesterol 280, BP 120/80. Had first TIA September 1 of this year. Doc wants me on a statin plus aspirin. What are your thoughts? So, Ron, depending on, have you had a CT angiogram of your brain? I would ask the neurologist for that. If you haven't seen a neurologist, ask your doctor, why haven't I seen a neurologist? Aren't they the stroke experts? Because a TIA is a temporary mini stroke. That's what a TIA is. It stands for transient ischemic attack. And it's a temporary mini stroke is what it is. And so you need to see a neurologist. You need to ask for a CT angiogram of your brain arteries so that we can see what's going on in your brain. If you haven't had a CT angiogram, how do we know you don't have an aneurysm? That causes your symptoms, because that can cause those same exact symptoms. The statin, there's not a shred of research evidence that shows that statins prevent strokes. They might lower your risk of a second heart attack if you've already had one heart attack, maybe a tiny bit, but primary prevention, they're crap. Stroke prevention, they're crap. Aspirin, maybe. You need the CTA to see if you've got some really tight blockages in your brain arteries. If you do, then you might benefit from taking a baby aspirin 2 or 3 days a week, just enough to thin the blood a little, but not enough to bring on the bad side effects that can happen if you take an aspirin every day. And I've got a YouTube video about that to explain in more detail. Roxana, for people with inflammatory arthritis, is bulletproof coffee okay? So this is a great place to do Nisha's N=1 experiment. If your arthritis is flaring up and you're like, I'm eating a proper human diet, why is it still flaring up? You probably need to try 90 days with no dairy except for butter or ghee. That'd be an experiment. You could maybe need to try 90 days with no coffee.
I was fixing to say the coffee.
Could be the coffee. It'd be rare, but it could happen in some people. Yeah.
Somebody asked the same thing about gout. Would coffee interfere with, if they're doing true carnivore, can coffee be the culprit of keeping their gout attacks going?
Coffee is not carbohydrate free.
Right. And it's from a plant.
That's right. And there are hundreds of polyphenols in coffee, many of which have not been discovered yet. We don't even know. We know there's a bunch of them in there, but we don't know every single one that's in there. And so if you're having gout flare-ups or arthritis flare-ups on a PhD, you might want to try at least 30 days of no coffee, maybe 90, just to see if that's the culprit. I would predict it's rare that's going to be the culprit, but if you're having a gout flare, why not?
Worth a try.
It's worth a try.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, exactly. Donna, any suggestions for dealing with restless leg syndrome? Yeah, I got a video about restless leg on YouTube. Definitely the lower carb diet you eat, it's going to improve your restless leg syndrome symptoms. The longer you stay PhD, the less severe your symptoms should get. Now, there are many things that can cause restless leg type symptoms. Restless leg syndrome, if you guys don't know this is a condition that was entirely made up by the drug companies.
No kidding.
Absolutely. This is a diagnosis they basically created because they had a drug that they knew would treat it, which was Lyrica. And so they basically created restless leg syndrome. Now, I'm not.
Well, they put a name.
That's right. I'm not saying your symptoms are not real. That's not what I'm saying. They are real, but they are basically just a neuralgia or a neuropathy caused by your years of inflammatory high carb diet. So as you stick to proper human diet, Donna, very strictly, you should notice your RLS symptoms get less and less severe.
I've noticed, I don't know if there's any studies that show this, that a lot of people with thyroid issues have restless leg syndrome. This is correlation. Like I said, I don't know if there's anything that proves it, but I had it. And once my other thyroid symptoms resolved, that also resolved.
And you can imagine this little 110-pound fish flopping around in the bed. That's how it used to be. And that's why when I used to have the bed elevated because of my GERD back when we were first hanging out, and her flopping around with the restless legs, that's why she always wound up at the foot of the bed in the morning. She's like, what the hell am I doing down at the foot of the bed? I don't understand.
It interfered with my sleep for sure.
It interfered with my sleep as well. And I would have dumped her, but she was too cool.
That man slept just fine.
Yeah, I did. I slept like a corpse. It's true. Anita, thanks for showing up once again for us. Remind me again about eating only when truly hungry. True, even when I haven't had much, and it won't mess with any hormonal stuff such as thyroid. If, Anita, when you do eat, you eat until you are comfortably stuffed, and you eat a nutrient-dense diet that's full of animal fat and animal protein and all the vitamins and minerals that come with that. If you're using your daily minerals and you're getting some iodine either from your diet or a supplement, you're getting vitamin D either from the sun in your diet or a supplement, then yeah, if you're like, I'm truly not hungry, I'm not hungry, then don't eat until you're like, damn, I'm hungry. Yeah, that's fine, especially if you've still got too much stored body fat. There's nothing bad that's going to happen to your thyroid from doing that. Yeah. Good question. Raj is in Australia. Hey, man, what time is it there? Isn't it like you should be asleep, right?
What time is it? Time for lunch.
Comfortably numb. Hey, Dr. B, showing increasing blood work showing increasing calcium over the last 2 years. 10.3 now 10.7. Intact PTH is 28. Lab interpretation is non-parathyroid hypercalcemia. Not sure what to do next. My doctor's not concerned. So your doctor's an idiot. Okay. It is never okay for your calcium to be even 1/10 of a point above the normal range. You need to be referred to an endocrinologist ASAP. Okay. You also need an ionized calcium, not just an intact PTH. The endocrinologist will know exactly how to evaluate this to find out if it is hyperparathyroidism. If it is, they can work on that and treat that. If it's not, you've got to know. The next most common cause for this is an undiagnosed tumor, and you've got it. This is not just a snapshot here. Your calcium is continuously increasing. This has got to be evaluated. This is not okay. I'm not telling you have cancer. I'm telling you there is a chance that this is from a tumor growing somewhere in your body. You've got to call your doctor tomorrow and say, with all due respect, I'd like to be referred to endocrinology ASAP. I talked to a doctor friend of mine, and he said that it's never normal for a living human to have a calcium of 10.7. I need to go to a specialist, please. Thank you.
That same doctor would be really concerned about
if you're LDL.
100%.
100%. Yeah. You could have hyperparathyroidism or a tumor. He don't give a shit about that, but now your LDL's high. Yeah, exactly. And that's because there's no drug rep for hyperparathyroidism. So he doesn't know about that.
Pamela, puppies, dogs, frozen treats, not a meal replacement. How do you feel about ingredients of either plain pumpkin, plain yogurt, watermelon, banana, strawberry, nut butter, etc.? I think that stuff is fine, especially if it's frozen and put on one of those rubber mats. I don't know if you've seen those. You can get them on Amazon. So you just smear on some pureed yumminess, put it in the freezer so it's frozen, and then they lick it, and it's so soothing to your dogs if you have a hyperactive dog or one that just
Yep.
chews on everything. That really makes them happy. And Lily, she loves fruit. If Beckett is having an apple
And nuts.
he loves to throw things in the floor for her, and she either takes it or she doesn't. When she takes the fruit, she loves
Blueberries and cashews.
and apples
Yep.
and cashews, and hickory nuts.
Yeah, she'll actually
will
crack
crunch
them
them
with
up.
her teeth and get the nuts out. Yes, absolutely. But keep in mind, there's nothing in any of this that's going to benefit your dog nutritionally.
No, but I think
But-
the plain pumpkin is probably good. And I've seen somebody else do something else. Pumpkin and I think sweet potato. They pureed sweet potato and speared it on there.
If any of you guys who are brand new to the group, if you'd like to find a tribe member
Speaking of
to hang out with in real life, just in the comments, type a city that you live in or a city near you and the state, because a lot of our tribe members love to meet up for keto coffee or meet up for a steak. Now that makes me think. I think I missed. Did I answer Roxana's question?
I thought you did. I don't know.
Yeah, I did. Okay. I did. Okay. I just forgot that I did.
Here's our little girl. Oh, she's a good girl.
Diane, keto to carnivore for 10 weeks total. I noticed lately I can't or don't want to eat as much as I used to. Should I keep listening to my gut? Yes. And so everybody's so worried about, you got to count calories and you got to lower your calories. What they don't understand is when you're eating nutrient dense food, it's very common to just eat less food because protein and fat are the most satiating macronutrients, right? And so if you're what weighs on the scale is not calories. Calories are a unit of energy. What weighs on the scale is atoms, molecules. And so if you're eating too much food and you're retaining that, then you're going to gain weight on the scale. If you eat only when you're hungry, in the context of a nutrient dense proper human diet that's high in fat, high in protein, but very low in carbohydrates, lo and behold, you're going to eat less total food. And that's going to cause you to burn off excess fat as fuel. Yes. And so listen to your gut, listen to your true hunger signals. And for some of you guys who are new, it may take you 3 to 6 months because you've never known true hunger your entire life. You've been snacking your entire life, eating 3 meals a day and snacks in between. You don't even know what real hunger feels like. And that's one of the great benefits of actually doing a 24-hour or a 48-hour fast. I want all you guys to have done that at least once so you can know what true by George hunger feels like. Because I guarantee you, I didn't know until we started.
Taste food for the first time in your life. For some of you, you can actually really taste real food. So a plain burger patty with a little salt is going to taste like the best thing you have ever had in your life.
Yep. And that's also a great hack to know if you're truly hungry. Would you want a boiled egg with a little salt on it, or do you want a hamburger patty with a little salt on it? And if you're like, I don't want that, you're not truly hungry. Because I guarantee you, after a 3-day fast in the woods, and you come out and somebody says, "Hey, you want a hamburger patty?" What are you going to say?
You're going to tear it up.
Hell yes.
You'd eat anything.
Yeah, exactly. That's true hunger. Kay, I was taking 2 drops of iodine, but still had breast tenderness. Added a 3rd drop, and it completely went away.
Can it be that simple?
Yes, it absolutely can. Yes, absolutely. The vast majority of fibrocystic breast disease, the vast majority of cysts, breast cysts, the vast majority of breast pain is iodine deficiency. 100%. Yep. And so if I were UK, I would do 3 drops a day for maybe a month or 2 and then cut back to 2 because I don't want you taking excess iodine. You'll just pee it out and waste it. And then see if the breast tenderness comes back, because what happens is once you get your iodine stores repleted in your body, then you don't need to supplement as much every day. And so you can play around with 3 drops for a month or 2, then go back to 2, then go back to 3 if you need to. It's fine. Yeah, that's all. It really is. It's this simple. Yeah. And, you don't make millions of dollars talking about how simple things are. You make hundreds of millions of dollars talking about how complicated things are, and you need these supplements and these pills and you this special this and that, and you need to buy all these. That's how you get super wealthy.
But even
not by just saying,
in
this shit's
this
simple.
Community can overcomplicate it. To the
100%,
point where
yeah.
people are like, you know what? I'm going to eat what I want.
Yeah.
Forget this.
Exactly,
I'll just
yes.
eat in moderation.
Yep.
I don't care anymore. Everybody's saying something different. This one said this one. Just keep it simple.
Yep.
Eat meat. Eat animal fat.
Yep.
Eat low carb. Stay away
Absolutely.
from processed crap.
Jesse says, thoughts on the new study showing that allulose lowers blood sugar and helps weight loss. I've read all the new studies about allulose. There were some news article headlines that suggested this, but this is not what the actual study says. I'm still under the conviction to limit all artificial sweeteners, as am I. I totally agree with you. I found even stevia spiked my insulin. Absolutely, yes. And so there is no study that shows or proves that allulose lowers blood sugar and helps with weight loss. There were some headlines that kind of would, if you just read the headline, you'd be like, oh, well.
I'm sure stock prices went up for allulose this week.
If there was a study showing or proving that allulose lowered blood sugar and helped with weight loss, you don't think the allulose companies would be wearing that shit out? There'd be 24/7 ads on YouTube and every television station. Yeah, that's not what the study showed, but there were some influencers who did say that. How many hours, Diana says, is it safe to do fasting? Well, the current record for fasting is 387 days. There was an English gentleman who weighed 470 something pounds. And he asked his doctor, if I don't eat, won't I lose weight? Because he tried every diet. None of them worked. And the doc's like, well, yeah. He said, okay, I'm just not going to eat then. And they monitored him. They checked labs. They gave him like a vitamin mineral supplement. And he didn't eat for 380 something days. And he lost a ton of weight. And then he went back to eating normally and kept the weight off. But you can, you don't even have to think about a 24, 48, or 72-hour fast unless you're on insulin. That's the only way it's dangerous. Otherwise, completely safe to do. I could take any of you guys right now, come to your house, abduct you, lock you in my barn, and forget about you for 72 hours. You'd be pissed off, but you'd be medically, physically, you'd be perfectly fine. Even if there was no water in the barn, you'd be perfectly fine. You'd be mad, you'd be thirsty, you'd be hungry, but you'd be fine.
The main problem people run into is doing a really long fast and then just gorging on a feasting, and then they
You
got
can get some nausea and vomiting or some diarrhea if you refeed too fast.
Sip on some bone broth, eat some scrambled egg, ease back into the eating so you don't have the refeeding stuff.
Patrick is doing the 90-day beef, butter, bacon, and eggs challenge. They bought some Element electrolytes. They are flavored. Is this a problem? We are 55. Probably not, Patrick. If you were eating high carb inflammatory before and you switched to BBB and E, you're going to notice improvements in results. Okay, even if and I would use 1 Element packet a day. You don't need more than that unless you're running for hours a day in the hot blazing sun. First time for Diane. Welcome, Diane. Carrie, please help. That sounds like a question. I've been coughing since June of 23. 57-year-old female, mostly meat, but sugar binge about every 2 weeks. Confirmed bronchitis by X-ray. 1 month ago, 7 days of antibiotics, none since. So first thing, Kara, you can't see bronchitis on an X-ray. I've read thousands and tens of thousands of X-rays in my career. I was an X-ray tech before I went to medical school. So when I opened the clinic back in 2002 or 3, I had X-ray. And I read them. And I had a radiologist who would back me up if I was like, oh, God, I don't know what's up with this one. I'd never had to use the radiologist a single time. That you can't see. So your doctor just basically told you had bronchitis. They probably saw some bronchial thickening or something. No. So what we do know is you don't have a lung tumor, and you don't have pneumonia, and you don't have bronchiectasis, and you don't have a lot of other things in your lungs. So you probably had bronchitis. That's what the doctor meant to say. So probably what you have is something called post-viral tussive syndrome. Some people, after they have a viral bronchitis, they'll cough for months. Okay. And there's not a cough medicine on the planet. There's nothing, no cough lozenge, nothing helps it. You just cough until your lungs get over it and they go back to normal. Now, also keep in mind that silent reflux coming from the stomach and esophagus can make you have a cough as well. There are several other things that can make you have a cough. So if you haven't already done so, you probably need to ask your doctor to refer you to a pulmonologist, a lung specialist, and let them evaluate and make sure nothing else is going on. And remember, when you go see the pulmonologist, that doesn't mean that, and tell the pulmonologist up front, look, I just want you to make sure there's nothing dangerous going on. I want you to make sure there's nothing I need to worry about. I'm not here for medicine. If this is a benign condition that's going to take care of itself, I'm not here for a prescription. I want all you guys to tell the doctor that. I'm not here for a prescription. If this is self-limited, if this is going to get better on its own, I do not want a prescription. That gives the doctor permission to keep the prescription pad in their pocket. Okay. Yeah. Spleecial, you got to quit watching baking shows. That'll make your insulin go up. That's funny, but it's also true. It just watching a commercial for hot fudge cake. Just the fact that I just said hot fudge cake and you got that mental picture, your insulin just went up a little bit. I'm sorry about that, guys. But that's how quickly the human brain responds with the gut to say, hey, something's coming and you need to bump the insulin up and get ready for it. Yeah, don't be watching that stuff. The only TV we watch, there's no commercials. Because if there was a McDonald's commercial, what would I do immediately after that commercial?
Say, I'm hungry.
I'd be in the kitchen, 100%. They know that, and they know that if you're probably going to go to McDonald's if you do that.
Are you
she does that all. Are you really?
You really know?
I'm like, I hate you and love you at the same time. Yeah.
It happens to us still.
Yes.
You have to know
Yes.
this. Like
Yes.
we are not in any way just like winning every single day. Like there are days when we're just
Yes, we're
like,
still human.
this kind of win a little something.
Carrie, tell us the truth, Dr. Barry and Nisha. What is the perfect food day for you, including what you put in your coffee, and does your weight still fluctuate? Yeah.
Go first.
So my weight still fluctuates. I'm 95% carnivore. When I cheat with keto. But sometimes Melissa makes a little keto cheesecake or something, and I've got a sweet tooth. It is not gone.
I would say you have a dairy tooth.
A dairy tooth, 100%.
That's
I have a dairy tooth.
That's your demon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And so like dairy dessert, holy shit, I'm going to eat it all if it comes in this house. My weight stays anywhere from 228 to 235, depending on how good I behave. The more carnivore, the closer it is to 228. The more keto, the more it is to 235. And so I have 2 cups of caffeinated coffee in the morning, typically with mineral drops, 2 drops of iodine, and then maybe some Element chocolate salt, maybe not. And then sometimes heavy cream, but not every day. Not every day, because I love freaking heavy cream, man. I could drink the whole carton. And so average day for me, today I broke my fast at about 4 p.m. with 2 cans of sardines, into which I put some mustard and some Primal Kitchen mayo.
And
what else did I put?
a raw egg.
And 2 raw egg yolks. And I had like a sardine, tuna salad, but with sardine and 2 raw eggs. And that's all I've eaten today. And I am going to eat the rest of Nisha's leftover meatloaf after this live. She's warming it up in the oven right now. And then I sometimes will have a decaf with some mineral drops in the evening. Sometimes I won't. It just depends.
I don't know if so you said the perfect food day. Do you mean realistically?
That's a realistic day.
Or do you mean let's he did realistic, let's do fantasy.
Mhm.
Let's pretend that Nisha had a chef that would just make me whatever I wanted. All right, here's how it would go. I'd have a keto-friendly pumpkin spice iced latte. I would fast till probably around 2 p.m. And then I would have 4 poached eggs with hollandaise sauce on top, a side of pork belly, and probably a little avocado. That would be my first meal of the day.
Nice.
Then around 4:35, I'd be like, Chef, can I get some sashimi? And I would eat
fatty tuna, salmon,
smoked salmon.
What else? What's that other good one you
some
like?
shrimp, good shrimp, cold crab legs with some butter. Right? Okay. Then for dinner, this is fantasy land, okay? This is not how I get to eat. But then for dinner, I would have some Wagyu, cooked medium, with another side of pork belly, and a Caesar salad made with real anchovies, with extra anchovies, and extra anchovies, no croutons. Yeah. And then I would here's a realistic. I would have a glass of dry farm wine at night, and that's what I'm having right now. And that's the fantasy. Okay, So you got both sides, realistic and fantasy. I think mine is better.
And your weight is fluctuates between what and what?
110, 105. Forever.
Yeah.
Till the end of time, probably.
Yeah. Before she got Hashimoto's, like she could live on, I ain't even going to say it out loud because I don't want your insulin to go up.
All the things.
But literally junk with a side of junk.
And weigh 105.
And weigh 105. Yeah. But then she got Hashimoto's and that was the end of that shit. Yeah.
If I go off plan for more than 5 days, it's on like Donkey Kong. It's mostly water and I just hold on to fluid.
Yep. Farmer mom, 3 weeks on mostly carnivore, eating OMAD until comfortably full. Husband is worried about caloric level only being 700 to 1,000 calories. What should I say to him? Well, now it depends on several things, farmer mom. Where are you in your weight loss journey? If you've still got a lot of stored body fat that you want to burn off and get rid of, then who cares? You're eating nutrient-dense food, right? You're getting egg yolks. You're eating red meat, fatty red meat. Hopefully you're throwing a can of sardines or cod liver in there every now and then. You're using your mineral drops. You're not developing any vitamin or mineral deficiencies. You're getting plenty of amino acids and fatty acids. There's no nutrient deficiencies here. Tell your hubby with love and respect that the human body doesn't know what a calorie is. And also that calories don't weigh anything on the scale. Calorie is a unit of heat measurement. The body does not count calories. It doesn't know what that means. It knows about nutrition. And so if you're feeling good, if you're looking better, if you're like, dude, what more do you want? I feel better than I felt in a long time. Stop worrying about the calories. And I've got a few videos on YouTube about calories that might help them understand that.
Also, how small are you? Like if you're tiny.
Right. Right. Right.
Versus your husband.
Yeah.
If you're much larger.
If you're 5'0", you don't need thousands and thousands of calories.
But you do need protein.
You do need protein and
you
fat.
need fat.
And vitamins and minerals.
And
exactly.
Yes.
Dr. Karen Becker is a great vet on YouTube.
Oh, listen. Yeah, that's my fantasy menu, Nisha. My reality is chicken wings and ground beef. Same. I had chicken for lunch today, and I'm going to have ground beef for dinner today. And that's my reality most days, plus the mix thrown in there.
Karen Becker. Okay, I'll check into her. My fantasy would just be perfectly cooked, fatty steaks. Just
like
tomahawk, New York strip, T-bone, and a little bit of Wagyu.
I'm not a ribeye. He loves aged ribeye. We have a restaurant we go to when we celebrate Nashville, and they have
yes. Mary, maybe I have been having dreams about eating junk food. I do not crave it. I wake up nervous and upset that I eat junk food.
Bless your heart,
I've been craving steak. So there's some unconscious stuff going on with Mary. She's sorting some stuff out, and that's good. That's good. Your body's dealing with it while you're asleep. That a lot of psychiatrists and psychologists think that's what dreams are. Is us trying to make sense of the world in dream world, where you don't get hurt if you do something dumb like eat a bunch of junk food.
But you're waking up craving steak, though, man. Your consciousness, they're like going places. You're heading in the right direction. Good job.
Lisa, does the A1C detect glucose made by the liver? Yes, it does, but it seems like but here's why. I'm going to say this and then I'll tell you why. It seems like that the glucose made from gluconeogenesis is not as glycating. And so people who do long fast, their glucose will go up when you fast. And people who work out really hard, your glucose goes up when you work out hard. But yet when they get their A1C checked, it's great. So therefore, it makes sense to me that your body, it works as a concert orchestra. Your body knows that your liver's making sugar. Does that make sense? And everybody's ready for it. It knows how much to make. They know how much is coming. And so it's all used up and it doesn't glycate. Does that make sense? If the glucose isn't coming from food, but blood sugars are high, does A1C still end it? Yes, that's the evidence we have. It may not come down to normal, but it's going to be lower than you thought it was going to be. And we've heard this hundreds and hundreds of times, especially in the carnivore community. They're like, no, when I work out, it goes up to 105, 110. If I do a 2-day fast, it goes up to 105, 110. I know my A1C is going to be shit. And then they get their A1C back. It's like, that's great. And that's the evidence we have for thinking that endogenously made glucose is not as glycating as exogenous glucose that comes from outside the body.
I have a question for you guys in the chat. But if you would like to see this, what if I did a YouTube video that was dream what I ate in a day. And it was me in Nashville with Ken, of course. And we were going to all these different restaurants and eating the best things on the menu that are like keto carnivore. Would you watch that? Yes or no? Put a 1 in the comments.
Oh, you know what we could do dream day of eating versus reality, and then just show us in our flip flops and our torn holy t-shirt cooking some ground beef, because that's how we both look all day. But then also shows her having her wagyu and her.
I do not look like that.
She doesn't.
You don't need her to get turned.
S. Lundberg, can carnivore diet help dysautonomia and high intracranial pressure? And are there tips for keeping it stable in the first 6 months of a carnivore diet? So the dysautonomia, absolutely, carnivore is going to make the symptoms less severe and make it a less concerning condition. The high intracranial pressure, it depends. It depends on why you're having that. Okay. Some reasons for having raised intracranial pressure will respond to carnivore. Some will not. Some are anatomical in nature. But yeah, absolutely, carnivore is ketovore or carnivore, whichever one you're like, I really feel called to eat that way. That's the one you need to do.
And when he says feel called, he means by your diseases.
Yes, not by just
the Holy Spirit.
Yeah. Okay, Jennifer, new member from Pittsburgh. Welcome. Huzzah. Ketovore has taken me from using a wheelchair to some days to lifting weights again at the gym. You understand? You understand that's worth more to me than any copay.
Yeah. That brings something else up. We would love to start collecting success stories.
Mm-hmm.
To share and maybe give one of you a week when we start doing Monday Night Lives every week again, a shout out during Monday Night Live. I'm not sure how we're going to collect these yet, but stay tuned because we have so many in the group that are just like just someone hearing that is possible would make them say, I'm going to give this a try.
Absolutely. So, good. And then often when you're telling your before and after, your story is your before story is exactly their story.
Right.
And they're like, holy shit, that's me. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of times that's a gateway. They're like, well, if that worked for me, I'm gonna, okay. Yeah. So we're
working on the system
to be announced. Mitzi brings up an excellent point that I want everybody in the tribe to understand. Modern fruit that you can buy at the grocery store looks nothing like fruit from even 200 years ago. Okay. And there's tons of books been written about this, tons of research. The big old yellow banana that is in the grocery stores now, every one of those are literal clones of every other banana in the world. They're not individual bananas. They're a clone of the same banana. Before 200 years ago, there was no such banana on the planet. Okay. There was a banana before our modern banana called the Cavendish, which tastes distinctly different. I've never had one, but I've read about this. And that, the banana flavoring that they put in candy and stuff, that you're like, that doesn't really taste like banana.
I love that banana.
That's what the old Cavendish tasted like before a virus wiped the entire Cavendish off the planet.
How did I know that?
That's what they made the original banana flavoring based on what Cavendish tastes like. And so another great way to see the truth of what Mitzi's saying here is to go into your search engine, whatever you use, and type in modern fruit versus ancient fruit, and then look at the images and look at what a watermelon used to look like versus, you know what it looks like now. But this goes for grapes. This goes for every single fruit. And then something that Dr. Saladino and I talked about in our last interview together that he acted like wasn't true, but is absolutely true. Is that humans, even before recorded history, we've been monkeying around with plants. We've been cross-pollinating, and we've been doing that stuff for thousands of years. For as long as we've been domesticating wheat, we've been mucking around with all the fruit trees, saying, hey, that's a really sweet one right there. I'm going to cross that one with this one, and we're going to see what we get. And I'm like, even fruit trees in the jungle have been messed with by humans for thousands of years. And he's like, no, they're out in the jungle. I'm like, dude, you don't think there was no people in the jungle?
Like
What do
he
you-
literally lives his life off of people who live in the jungle.
Right. It's like,
He
yeah,
bases his whole life off of it.
every fruit tree on the planet has been messed with by humans for thousands of years.
I was gonna bring this up too, but like if you feel like that may not be true, or you're concerned about Dr. Berry being full of crap, which if you're in here, you probably don't.
I love it if you do think that.
But like all you have to do is walk through the grape aisle and see the cotton candy grapes, and you'll go,
It's a new grape now.
it's probably not supposed to be like
Cotton
that.
candy grapes. That's a new thing. That's
My
the latest
mom
thing we've come up with.
loves those
Yeah,
grapes.
they taste
They
delicious.
taste like sugar because they
Sure.
are sugar.
But there are people out there who would argue that is natural. You can eat all the cotton candy grapes you want because it grew on a vine. So, yeah. Tuna Boy, part 1. Why did I get a tiny stroke after 3 years in carnivore? No prior med conditions, no meds, A1C 5.2, BP 110/70, HSCRP 0.5. That's all good. LDL 354, trigs 52. That's good. HDL 115. That's good. CT, EKG, echocardiogram normal. What are your thoughts? I have no idea. The first thing I'll tell you, Tuna Boy, and everybody else watching this, is just because you're eating a proper human diet, that does not make you immortal. It does not make you bulletproof. You are still human, and you will still die from something one day. All of us will. Okay? So being carnivore doesn't make you bulletproof or immortal. Some bad things are still going to happen to you, and eventually you will die, Tuna Boy. What eating a proper human diet does is it loads the dice in your favor, because every day when you get out from under the covers and put your 10 toes on the floor, you roll the dice on getting hit by a bus, a meteor, having a TIA, having this, having that. But by eating a proper human diet, you are loading the dice in your favor. You're decreasing the odds of certain bad things happening. You're essentially turning the odds of ever developing type 2 diabetes to zero. You're making that essentially impossible, but you're still going to die of something, Tuna Boy. Things are going to happen to you. Okay. I don't know why you had a TIA, but I do know, just from thinking about this from a common sense standpoint, that eating a carnivore diet is not what caused you to have a TIA. Okay. Probably what the carnivore diet did was it allowed you to have a transient ischemic attack instead of a full-blown stroke.
Did Amanda ever send our presentations from the Dixon event? I never got an email. I would really love to share my talk
You did
with
great.
you guys. 'Cause
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
good.
I'll ask her again.
Like, not to pat myself on the back, but I'm gonna.
Yeah, she did amazing, and I did all right.
It really breaks down. Like, yes, it's not going to make you bulletproof, but here's what it can do, and it's going to give you the best fighting chance, right?
Exactly.
What's
right.
the alternative?
Right. Only in the movies does the hero shoot 5,000 people and come out unscathed. We all are going to get scathed in the end. Okay, this is not a video game. But I would like to live my life. I'm about to be 55 years of age. I was out in the pasture today. I worked for 4 or 5 hours today. I did my sprints today. Have you guys done your sprints or your stand-up sit-downs or
I did do that.
your burpees? Have you done something today? Because if you hadn't, it's not too late. This day is not over until you lay your head on the pillow. So you can do that right after this, or you can do it during this, because I can't see you. You can start doing jumping jacks right now and do as many as you can and get out of breath and winded, and then sit down and know that you have improved your health. Have you made yourself immortal? No, but you have improved your health.
What I think what I could do is just do my talk in the group as a webinar.
You probably should
just
do
for
that.
you guys. Every time I do this talk, it metamorphosizes.
It gets better and better.
It gets better and better every single time that I do it. I might just do that.
I think you should do that. Carrie, 75 years old, new caller, 9 weeks on carnivore, but 2 weeks in, I had a queasy stomach and could not look at meat. This happens to some people, especially people who are mainly plant-based for years and years and years. And I don't mean that you were a vegan or a vegetarian by choice, Carrie. What most people don't realize is the standard American diet, it's like 75% plants. Even if you're eating all the junk and going to McDonald's, 75% of the food intake is still plants. And so a lot of times it takes your gut microbiome and it takes your gut a few weeks to go, okay, we're eating really nutrient dense food now. We need to ramp it up. A lot of people's stomach, after eating years of plant-based, they don't make nearly as much stomach acid as they need. And they have trouble the first few weeks of carnivore until their chief cells and parietal cells bump up the acid production, and then they can eat the meat. That's probably what happened to you, Carrie. It doesn't sound like anything dangerous.
I was attacked. Sorry.
Did Loki attack?
Yeah.
Jenny, my husband has been on carnivore for 2 weeks and wants to quit because the diet is causing heartburn. He has quit eating bacon. So probably what's causing heartburn is the change in diets. And so what he may want to do, if this is really a big deal for him, is just tell him, go back to eating the way you were, honey. And then what we're going to do is we're going to slowly transition you to carnivore, because carnivore absolutely improves every gut condition, including heartburn. But if you change abruptly overnight, like some men are wont to do, my God, gung-ho, all in, there's all these things, and they all apply to the way men live their life. You might not have enough stomach acid, therefore you're feeling some reflux.
I need to take the meat ones out of the oven before it.
Yes. Justin says fruit is a gateway drug. Strawberries today, ice cream tomorrow. And for many of you guys, and you know who you are, what Justin says is true. So honor that. Lady Fritzader, what is therapeutic ketosis for healing? How can a long-term carnivore who now only gets 0.5 blood ketones being healing ketosis, as Dr. Seyfried and others describe, for more serious issues? And this is something that Dr. Westman and I were just discussing. Dr. Westman, as you may or may not know, is one of the original researchers on a ketogenic diet. And he keeps moving more and more towards carnivore. You notice that every time we meet up with him, he's more and more like, yeah, carnivore is probably the way. But so what happens when you first start a ketogenic diet is you can have very high ketone readings, right? And even on a carnivore diet, if you add enough extra animal fat, you can still have ketone readings of 1, 2, 3, or 4. But once you become keto adapted and you're actually burning the ketones as you make them, it's very common to have ketone readings of 0.5. And that does not mean you're not in ketosis. It does not mean you are not in therapeutic ketosis. This comes straight from the mouth of Dr. Eric Westman, and I can have him back. We haven't had him in a while.
I was just fixing to say he needs to come back into the group, because this is something I'm concerned about as well, because we hear all this, you need to stay at this level for it to be therapeutic if you have this disease, or like mental health, Alzheimer's, any kind of brain issues. That's all you need to have high ketones. And I would love to hear his.
I've talked to Chris Palmer, the psychiatrist, about this as well, and he currently believes that there are some psychiatric conditions where you need to have a very high fat.
I do too. I feel that way. That's why I'm
ketogenic diet. And so keep in mind that a carnivore diet can be just as high fat as a ketogenic diet. All you got to do is slap enough butter on it. It's going to be high enough fat to get you in a deeper ketosis. Okay. I need to see some more research on this. And I think there's probably none. No, there's none currently.
Because I'm very concerned about that. Because so many of us that have those specific diseases feel best on carnivore and then can't get those high ketone readings.
Right. And if you add enough extra fat, you will get those higher ketone readings.
But I need.
But I agree.
I need more input.
I agree. We need more input and more research.
This is important. I feel like it's important.
D. 3 weeks ago, we discussed heavy cream and my A1C being 6.2. You recommended a fasting insulin, which I did, and it's 2.4. It's very good. He also did a free and total insulin. Both are 1.4. My C-peptide is 1.6. So if your fasting insulin is indeed 2.4, then there's carbohydrates in your diet that you're not aware of. There's no way you can have an A1C of 6.2 and there not be some kind of carbohydrates. And heavy cream does have a big serving has 1 or 2 grams of carbohydrates, but there's other carbohydrates in your diet that you're. I'm not saying you're lying. I'm saying that you thought that sauce or that rub or that condiment was 0 carb, and it's not. You got to go back and look at everything with fresh eyes. Okay. Because we know you're making enough insulin that you're able, the only reason that your A1C is 6.2 is there's hidden carbs in your diet that you don't know about. You honestly don't know about them. Now, if it came back that your fasting insulin was 0.2 and your A1C was 6.2, I would say, well, you're an undiagnosed. You've got some degree of type 1 diabetes. You need some insulin to get that A1C down, but you're making more than enough insulin to get your A1C down once you get the carbohydrates low enough. And so I would bump up the fat and go through everything with Fresh ISD, look up every ingredient, look up everything you put in your mouth, find the hidden carbs, get rid of them, increase the fat macro percentage of your diet, and then recheck it again in 3 months.
All right, you take a few more if you want to.
Get a
Our
few
kids
more
are fixing to be here
since I've been gone for a month.
Yeah. Love you, Maynette.
Genevieve, I'm a 57-year-old woman, A1C 4.5, fasting glucose 77, triglycerides 53, HDLs 85. My LP(a) is 230 and my ApoB is 135, LDL is 200. Should I be concerned? No. You're welcome. You are metabolically healthy as heck. You're healthy as a horse, as we say here in Tennessee. I don't care what your LP(a) or your ApoB is. These are, in my estimation, are still experimental lab numbers. I don't think we have enough data. We haven't been checking these for enough years to know, is this really a meaningful number or not? And then you can watch my interviews with Dr. David Diamond about LDL and my other YouTube videos about LDL to ease your mind. Not as much what? Oh. Well, then I guess you'll just have to do something else. Linda. The doctor changed my husband's blood pressure to amlodipine. I think you meant from amlodipine to 10 milligrams amlodipine benazepril. It's a combo. He is coughing a lot. It's probably the benazepril. Yeah. ACE inhibitors in some few people can cause a coughing syndrome where you just cough constantly for no reason. ACE inhibitors are notorious for doing this in some few people. Now, if any of you guys are taking an ACE inhibitor like lisinopril, benazepril, Acupril, and you're like, I don't cough, should I stop it? No, it's fine. If you still need a blood pressure pill, an ACE inhibitor is very safe. But in about, I forget the actual number, but like 1 person out of 50, 1 out of 40, they'll just get this crazy cough that's like, I don't know why I'm coughing, and it's the ACE inhibitor. Yeah. Now, also, you may have come down with a viral bronchitis. Benzonatate, the doc put him on benzonatate, yeah, which is Tessalon pearls to help with the cough, but it's not working. Yeah, first of all, they never work. I don't know why any doctor prescribes them, but ask him to take him off the benazepril, and if it is an ACE inhibitor related cough, it'll go away within a week or two. Cheryl's got a question. 64 days carnivore, type 2 diabetic, currently still have diarrhea, occasionally very liquid, has a strong urine smell and pee smell like metal. Bowels are tender, lower back ache, a little lightheaded. Should I go? Yeah, you should go to your doctor and get checked, Cheryl. There's nothing about carnivore that's going to make you sick, but it sounds like you may have something going on with your bowels. You may, and the fact that it has an odd smell, that makes any nurse and any doctor always worry. I wonder if C. difficile has gotten carried away in this person's colon. So you need to go see your doctor and get that checked out. Yep. And make sure and recheck that A1C every 3 months. And you're going to be a former type 2 diabetic before long. All right. I see my baby's just pulled in the driveway. I'm going to get one more from Jennifer. After 50, how often should we lift weights to gain muscle and definition? I've been doing once a week for 9 months. Would I benefit from twice a week? So the vast majority of you guys, what you don't want to do is overtrain. And that's easy to do as you get older. If you like say, I'm going to lift weights, I'm going to do bench press every single day so my chest will get bigger quicker. That's not how it works. Okay. You have to do intense exercise like bench press, and then you have to take at least 2 days off to give the chest muscles time to repair the damage you did and to hypertrophy. I know, I just said that. The myocytes, so that your chest muscles get bigger and stronger. So you can go to twice a week, but I would not do any more often than twice a week working out the same body part. Okay. And so, like with my sprints, I don't sprint every day. I sprint every other day. And I really should be sprinting every third day, but I'm a little hard headed. But I need to give those muscles 2 days to repair and to rejuvenate and to regrow and to bulk up and get stronger. Also, need to give my tendons and my ligaments and my cartilage time to get stronger as well. And they don't have as good a blood supply, so they take longer. And so don't overdo it, Jennifer. Don't think, well, if 1 day a week's good, I'm going to do 3 days. No. 2 days a week max with the heavy stuff. Okay. And so if any of you guys are like, I'm going to start lifting weights, I want to really put on some muscle. A good strategy to do that is on day 1, do chest, shoulders, and triceps. That's all the pushing movements, right? Then on day 2, do back and biceps. That's all the pulling muscles. And then on day 3, do legs. And then on day 4, take day 4 off. And then start back over with push, pull, legs, day off. Push, pull, legs, day off. And if you do that and you eat a proper human diet with plenty of animal fat and animal protein, you're going to put on some muscle and you're going to be looking good. All right, guys, I'm going to go hang out with my babies. Beckett, you want to come say hi? Come say hi. No. Beckett's shy. Bonnie Blue will come say hi. You get to see her busted lip. She fell in the rocks being a country girl and she got a abrasion. Come to me. Oh, here comes Beckett. Beckett wants to say hi. There he is. And there's Bonnie Blue. Say hi. You silly baby. All right, guys. We're out of here. Thanks so much for being part of this group. Thanks for taking care of your brothers and sisters like Beckett takes care of Bonnie, because he's been doing this longer than Bonnie, so he knows the ropes. So if you know somebody who's brand new to this group, take him by the hand. Say, hey, I had the same thing. Let me help you. Oh, that didn't hurt you. Okay. Say, love you, mean it.
But you made me bite my
tongue. Oh, I'm sorry. You want me to bite it myself? All right, guys, we're out. See you later. Say bye-bye. Say bye-bye quick.